All right, hello and welcome to our webinar, Managed Training for Building Compounding RMR with Autonomous Video Security Services and Artificial Intelligence. Today we have with us Frederick Bohr, Sales Director, Western US for Umbo. Fred has 22 years of industry experience with intrusion, fire, EAS, video surveillance, and autonomous video surveillance. Fred has a background with security integrators, as well as distribution and manufacturing, which allows him to assist prospective clients with the ability to understand the environment from all aspects and design systems that will benefit the integrator and the end user. In today's webinar, you will learn about how you can partner with Umbo Computer Vision to build compounding recurring revenue streams. You will see an overview of Umbo's efficient and accurate artificial intelligence and discover how to maximize your customers' existing third-party hardware installations with Umbo Computer Vision Light AI's RSTP features. With Umbo Computer Vision, end users can manage hundreds of hours more security video and better protect their property while using fewer human resources. At the same time, system integrators can diversify and grow their hardware and installation revenue. My name is Zach Stahl. I'm the Online Education Specialist with PSA, and I will be moderating today's webinar. I have just a few quick housekeeping items before I hand it over to Fred. First, if you have not already done so, please mute yourself. Also, if you happen to have any questions throughout the course of the presentation, please type them into the question panel, and we will go over questions at the end of the presentation. Additionally, if you run into any technical difficulties, please also type that into the chat, and we will do our best to get you back up and running as soon as possible. With that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you, Fred.
So thanks again. Let's start this back and rewind a little bit. Thanks again for joining me. Today, from Umbo Computer Vision, we're going to talk about generating RMR with cloud video and artificial intelligence. So to give you a little bit of an idea, at Umbo, we're an artificial intelligence company, and we make things more efficient through artificial intelligence. We were founded in 2014. We now have 3 offices. We've got our main office in Taipei, Taiwan. We've got our US office in San Francisco, and we've got our European office in London. We've raised pretty close to $10 million in investment capital. And we're led by ex-DARPA Robotic Challenge, the U.S. champion and the DaVinci surgical robot researchers. We also have one of our founders was a lead developer in the cell phone world, a lot to do with the computer aspect of things. And we also have a lot of outstanding publication time with technologies like TechCrunch, Wall Street Journal, Dow Jones, AI Trends, Fortune, and Forbes. So we're getting a lot of traction with the press corps as well. We have 200 plus system integrators around the world, 500 plus end users, 13 vertical markets that we're primarily working within. We've processed over 4 billion security images, and as we get a little deeper into the presentation, it'll become apparent why that magic number is so vitally important to our business. We have the Security Industry 2017 Best in Video Analytics from the ISC West Show in 2017, NVIDIA Deep Learning Conference in 2016, and as we were chit-chatting a little bit earlier in here, we just got second with NVIDIA's person re-identification program, and I believe that was over in Asia that was happening. And then also very recently, we received our ISO 27001 certification, which what all's under the hood of that, I'm not sure, but it was a very important certification for us to obtain, and we went through the painstaking process of making sure that we meet those standards. So there's the beginning fluff that we need to cover to give you a little background on vision and where we come in the recent past. What we really want to talk about are what are the tools for building recurring revenue, and those it's simplified hosting solutions in the cloud. And what some of the things that you'll find with Umbo Computer Vision as you progress into the technology that we offer is it is a very simple solution to work with. Both from there's a lot of back office things that go on to create the technology, but once it gets to the integrator's hands or into the end user's hands, it's very simple to use, very simple to get involved with, very minimal amounts of programming, and substantially less equipment to operate with. It's video security artificial intelligence that works for you. Intelligent hardware as an investment. So, you know, what we're really trying to get away from is the commoditization of the video surveillance market. You know, there are places out there where you can get, you know, $30, $40, $50 cameras, things like that. Well, it's always attractive to be fiscally responsible with your company monies. We're not as hardware focused as we are software. We are a software company. We want that software to make your life better in the long run, and that's what we strive for. And then video security as a service. So what we want to be able to have you guys offer is software, video surveillance software as a service in a recurring monthly revenue format. How we do that is for simplification reasons or potentially there with our smart cloud. We have our Umbo learning cameras. I was trying to shift this over here, but it's not going. We have our traditional IP cameras that we capture the RTSP stream off of, and there's an NVR, DVR. So what we work with is we do not have a head end with the Umbo system. There is no NVR or DVR associated to it. We have our Umbo camera. We have our SD card on the edge for the high resolution storage, and then it communicates back and forth with the smart cloud. The Umbo Lite is an off-premise, off-site artificial intelligence technology that's done in the cloud, and then comes back to the Aqua software for viewing. To take an RTSP stream, we do that off a third-party camera, and we bring that to the cloud and do the processing at that point, and then send it back. But where the NVR DVR comes into play on this is if a customer has that application or existing investment already in place, we can still capture the RTSP stream, give the customer the benefit of utilizing the Umbo artificial intelligence technology, but not impact their third-party application on their NVR DVR, so they can still maximize the benefits of both worlds. In addition to that, we offer the real-time activity alerts, because everything on the Umbo platform is a real-time activity. We're not looking, you know, traditionally video surveillance has been more forensic, where this is very much focused on the real-time event, getting that real-time notification and real-time activity, particularly if it's a video system that's monitored at a third-party central station. That all has to be real-time. Excuse me. So video security artificial intelligence that works for you. So what we'll do into the next several slides is introduce you to Umbo Lite artificial intelligence software. So, you know, based on the UK scientific department and the police agencies over there, it's been determined through their painstaking research that a single operator can manage up to about 12 cameras effectively. In their theater of operations, they have, you know, 400 million cameras, so effectively they need 120 million operators to monitor all of them. That's pretty impossible, since that exceeds the population of their country. So how do we effectively manage that and bring it back down into a more palatable level? So when we introduce artificial intelligence in here, you have your human operators that have you know, up to 12 cameras, or 32 if they're using machine learning. When you get into autonomous security with Umbo Computer Vision and the real-time alerts and the effectiveness of capturing data that matters, it brings it to 480 cameras per operator that they can effectively manage. So if you look at that, you're looking at a 40 time increase into that, and that makes a significant difference. So how do we do that? How do we do that becomes critically important when you're going to try and brag that we can go from 12 cameras per operator to 480 cameras per operator. So traditionally, if you looked at the slide that we have on the screen right now, traditional analytics are in bordered boxes, and it's looking for pixel change in the environment or object detection, so to speak. Where Umbo Computer Vision takes that to a much more granular level, and we use rapid neural network in the deep learning because we are looking at pixel segmentation to really get down into that finite level to where we can go from what you see here today. You've got a box around a horse, another box around a horse, this box around a horse, and a person saying it's a person. So what you get to that is it's fairly inaccurate because it's not really a person, it's a scene with a person in it. We want to be able to ignore all of the busyness around that and focus on the human detection aspect of that. So what we do with the pixel segmentation is get granular to this point where we are identifying only the human presence in the field, and we can do that whether this comes back to the 4 billion images that we process and the neural network deep learning on this. It's learning from those 4 billion scenes. So now with a minimal amount of information, we can detect a human. If it's just the arm and say, hey, that's human. Or if it's just the forehead, bridge of the nose, maybe the mouth and ears, we can say it's a human. And this scene is a great application here because it's ignoring all the horses. It's picking up the human form. It's ignoring the rim to the hat, ignoring the lasso, and ignoring any other parts of the scene as well. So, and then it takes a, oops, let me see if oh, not that one. In this scene, we're looking at, we have a zone set up in a detection field, and we're going to be looking for human detection in that. And that human detection is, according to this, happened at about 9:39.5. Every time there's an event, it'll be marked with this fuchsia line. So you see, here come the dogs. We're ignoring them. There's no motion from the trees, no shadows. The clouds parting and the sun coming in, but now we've got the human coming into the field, and right on the fuchsia line, we're detecting that person. So, and again, we'll talk a little bit more about these zones, but they're very easy to set up. You can have multiple zones in a scene. And again, we are here to reduce false alarms. We want to be able to reduce the amount of video that the end user or integrator or anybody that's in that food chain has to review. So we want it flagged, marked, event sent, and then the direction for the customer of here's what the system is saying needs to be looked at, versus scrolling through days or weeks of video looking for that single event. Again, this is a night scene on the same thing. So again, no cars, no lights, no dog, just a human. So some more of the imperial type of breakdown on that with a 40 time improvement on that. So going through using those technologies in that, what we're seeing is a 40 time improvement. Unstructured monitoring, again, it was 1 to 12 cameras for a person. Deep learning increases that to about 35 cameras per person. When you neural network deep learning, it gets us with the pixel segmentation and the 98% accuracy gets us to that 480 camera per operator level, which again, as with any company, we all want to do more with less. So if you've got a central station out there and they can monitor more cameras with less staff, equals higher profitability, that makes people happy. And if they're happy, we're happy. It also gives us the ability to do predictable costing. In a traditional video surveillance model, if you needed to add some cameras to your system to get more adequate coverage, you may find yourself, okay, I've exceeded my switch, so now I need a new switch. I've exceeded my NVR, so now I've got to get another NVR. I bought the additional channels, but the software has changed a little bit, so I need to buy new software for that, or depending on the customer, whether they get firmware updates or not. So it really gives you kind of an unpredictable cost pattern. With the smart cloud model, it's very predictable costing. If you need to add cameras in there, you'll be talking about cameras and the SD card and a switch if you're out of room. The software or firmware is always updated and keeps you into the current model. The hardware is the hardware, but at the end of the day, we're a software company, and software is what's driving this, not hardware. So you can really have more of a real gradual line to be able to predict what your costs for expansion or upgrading are. So this is a fun graph to use because it also coincides with how becoming more cost effective and helping the customers maximize their efficiency and their resources in there. So, feels like about 1,000 years ago when motion detection first came into play. It was the hottest thing in the market. It was the first, forms of video analytics. But if you look on my graph where it's hard to use, easy to use, searching capability and preventive capabilities, it fell into the fairly easy to use, but you still had to do a lot of searching for information on that. Then came a little bit more in-depth analytics. They were a lot harder to use, but they still had some of that search capability in there. Then shallow learning came in, still somewhat difficult to use. And then deep learning started to get really close into that. And now Umbo Computer Vision is in the marketplace with light artificial intelligence that is just really off the charts on the easy to use side of things, and also preventative. Some of the objectives that we have in that is being able to be somewhat predictive and giving the advance warning in the field of view before the bad actors have a tendency to get beyond certain points. So, again, if we go back to having a monitored system, if that perpetrator or person entering a zone is detected ahead of time, you can get whatever action that operator needs to take done before they get to a point where they can do any serious damaging in there, or hopefully before they can do any serious damaging. So, and again, we talked about the 4 billion images, more data, the more AI light gets better. And it's, we're up to over 4 billion live images. I would imagine within the next couple of years, we'll be in the tens of billions of live images. And each image that these cameras can analyze, the smarter they can get. And the smarter that they get, the more beneficial it becomes for the end user and more accurate that they become. And we feel pretty comfortable at 98% accuracy. Our objective is 99 or higher. And again, that little 2% sway in there, or 1% sway, is a huge issue for us. I mean, we want to get that hurdle, but to get over 98% is extremely difficult to do. And we're going to continue to analyze these these images until we get to that point. So as we talk about light artificial intelligence, we're looking to provide more value with each one of these that we offer. So someone is here. We showed a little video clip on that already. We've got a little bit of the slide clip on that, and it shows a zone setup in there and the human detection happening inside of that zone. And again, we're ignoring everything that's out there. So at that point, we can bookmark that video and save it for another day, or for evidence purposes, whatever we need to do with that video. Once you bookmark a video in there, when you go through a full demonstration on this and it shows you where to do bookmarks and everything like that, bookmarks stay there as long as you want them. They'll stay there forever unless you delete them. But you also get your push notification on your phone to give you either look at it at your phone, or make a note that you need to go back and look at that when you get on your computer, whichever it works for you. And again, you can draw the region of location of interest and receive your real-time alerts. Another value add that we have on this is what we call scaling the wall. And if you notice, our terms are a little bit different. We don't want to have the same terms as everyone else. We want to stand out a little bit. So scaling the wall is literally exactly what it is. So as you can see in this, you have your perimeter on that. In this case, it's a wall, and we've drawn our region of interest on the wall. If you went back a slide to someone is here, where we're doing human detection in a zone, scaling the wall is very similar to that, except it's the predicted patterning changes. It's no longer just looking for human detection, it's looking for the predictive patterning of a climbing motion. So again, with the pixel segmentation in that and the granularity that it gets to, I can walk up to that wall and stand there and drink a can of pop or whatever I'm doing, and the camera's going to ignore me. But once I get that predictive climbing patterning going in that, it's going to detect, create the event, send the alert, and it gets handled however the standard operating procedure describes it to be done. So again, it's still human detection, just at a different level. So more value with occupancy light artificial intelligence. Now, occupancy and people counting are similar but different. Occupancy is giving you an occupancy count inside of the camera's field of view. So, if you're in the yoga room at a exercise facility and they want to, know how many people are in there, they can look at their camera. If they've got occupancy sensing on that, and there's 28 people in the room, it's going to give them a count of 28 people. There's a difference between that and threshold counting, where threshold is counting your inbound, outbound traffic. So just make sure I create the differentiation in that. But again, you put the camera anywhere, and at any instant, it'll give you an accurate count of people in the room. Oops, sorry. More value with loitering memory. Loitering memory is again, it's human detection, but what we're looking at is Umbo Light measuring how long any particular person has stayed in a defined region of interest. And then it receives the alert when someone stays beyond a prescribed time. I could think of several places where that would come in handy, or where a customer would appreciate that. Like a car lot, for example, where there's been a lot of I don't know about where you guys are living, but where I live, there's always stories about the guys coming in to open up their shop, and they find a lot of their high-end cars up on blocks and all the wheels missing. That takes a little bit of time to do. So if you have loitering memory looking out there, it's ignoring all the other stuff, but picking up at that certain level where someone has loitered too long. That would be quite a cost savings event if they came back and had 10 cars worth of tires and wheels still on the cars. More value with tailgating. Umbo Light is in the process of integrating with Linnell access control right now. We already have digital input, digital output technologies that are built in, but with this, it's the camera detecting the tailgating versus a timing mechanism on an access control platform. So it looks for the read and one person going through. If it reads and two people's going through, it's going to alert and trigger the alarm and send that event. So some of our customer stories that are commentary that we have, RMR is easily available. The cloud monitoring and analytics were simplified. Again, AI is disrupting the security industry, a lot less alarms, all sidebar. We had a customer in the upper Midwest that was using a different technology and was getting in some heat because events were being missed. And this is also a customer that has their video monitored by a video central station monitoring company. And they one of the selling features we had is we had them send us the video clips, and we watched it through our software, and we found I believe every single one of the events that the other technology was not capturing. So as soon as we did that, he started switching over his technologies over to Umbo Computer Vision, and the central station has experienced a 90% reduction in false alarms since the customer has switched over. So in addition to more accuracy in detecting the events, they've also gotten more accuracy in the reality of the events, that they're true events, not false negatives or false positives. Get online or die. That's always kind of sounds harsh, but fewer false alarms, continually improving the accuracy and preventative security. Those are things that we pursue. And video security as a service, monetization, more value with less overhead. That's the easiest way we can put that, and resonates with the customer base the best. And that, gentlemen, is the end of the presentation. Any questions or comments or anything like that?
Thank you very much, Fred. Appreciate you going over the presentation, and we do have a few questions that I'd like to throw your way.
Great.
So first, Fred, do I have to use Umbo Computer Vision cameras to take advantage of the AI capabilities?
The simple answer to that is no. And we did talk about that a little bit on one of the slides, but to go a little bit deeper into that, well, we certainly enjoy our customers using an end-to-end solution with Umbo Computer Vision. It is not required. We understand that customers have made significant investments in existing technologies, and these customers don't want to necessarily just forklift it out because they like our technology. They want to be able to maximize their existing investment on the technology that they have, but also benefit from the Umbo Computer Vision technology. We can give them both the best of both worlds in that. And again, we'll go back to a little bit earlier in the presentation where we can capture the RTSP stream. We prefer to get two RTSP streams if they have enough for us. Then we get a low bandwidth RTSP stream, which would process the artificial intelligence, and then a higher resolution video for storage purposes. But if the customer only has one RTSP stream available, then that's what we'll use, but we'll take that at a higher resolution so they get both the analyzation and the recording at something that's visible and useful. So that being said, we can effectively and accurately capture RTSP stream off a third-party camera, give the customer the benefit of the Umbo Computer Vision light AI technology, but also not impact at all what their third-party camera system is doing. So they would achieve the best of both worlds with that.
That's fantastic. I think that's, gives people the opportunity to upgrade or, use their current, infrastructure to add more features and Umbo's light technology. It's fantastic.
It does. Yeah, I'm sorry. It does do that effectively, but also, maybe the customer only has 1, 2, or 3 cameras that they would really like to have the artificial intelligence on, and they can do that. They can pick and choose what they want to do. They don't have to put it on all of them. So they can, cost justify what they're attempting to do, or maybe they just got one hot camera that they need to keep track of. They can put it on that one camera. They don't need to do it all.
Very cool. Another question. How does the Umbo Computer Vision AI differentiate between people and other objects?
That's a really, really good question. So, and we did talk about it a little bit in there, but more specifically to exactly the way that question is worded. The Umbo Computer Vision is more effective using Umbo Computer Vision artificial intelligence. It uses the pixel segmentation. And what this does is it identifies and analyzes individual pixels versus simple changes in pixelation, where traditional videos looks for that, just more broad movement in a scene. And that's where you can get your false alarms from trees blowing or trash, particularly on the outside cameras. This is where, in the history of my career, I found the biggest problems to be on outdoor cameras for false alarms on motion detection or pixel change. Because again, if it's a cloudy day and the clouds part and the sun comes out, you get pixel change. If the wind's blowing and you got shadows, you get pixel change. If garbage or animals or something go through, you get pixel change. Where the artificial intelligence differentiates is that granular pixel segmentation, and it gets down into the weeds and is looking for just pure human detection, and it avoids all those other nuisances, unless of course the customer wants to know if animals are in the yard. Most don't. So that's how we can do that, is simply said by pixel segmentation.
It's amazing. Next question. How many ROI or regions of interest can I have in Umbo Computer Vision Lite AI?
That is a good question, because we didn't actually, we talked that you could have multiple, but we didn't get down into the weeds on that. In each camera scene, you can have up to 3 regions of interest in that. And the regions of interest are set by either the integrator or the end user, and can be modified at any time too, by just going back into the simple programming on that. And the simplicity of changing a region of interest is just crazy simple. You click on it, it'll show the dots on it, and within reason, straight line reasoning, you can do whatever geometric shape that you want. I mean, if you want a zigzag line going across and then square on the sides and zigzaggy on the bottom, you can do that. And it's just drag and drop the dot to where you want it, and it creates the scene in that. But you can have up to 3 zones, so if you have regions of interest in here, maybe a sidewalk, a driveway, and maybe your mailbox is getting torn into on a regular basis, put something around your mailbox, and it will focus on those 3 areas and ignore everything else. And even if it'll still show it on the video, but if you, like we saw that scene with the driveway on that, and then off to the sides there was no zone set up in there. So it sees the person walking on there, but it's not doing anything at all until they get into that region of interest. Now it's important to the camera to flag that event. So it does become very beneficial to, again, what we're trying to do is reduce the amount of garbage video that a customer has to look through. We want to maximize their time, maximize their return on investment, and minimize their workload.
It's amazing. Looks like we have one last question, and I think you touched on this a little bit, but how accurate is Umbo Computer Vision's artificial intelligence?
Very accurate. You want to know really how accurate? I have that answer. So, if you go backwards in time a little bit and you were doing motion detection or basic analytics, so to speak, you would get 65, 75, maybe 80% accuracy, and that was pretty good for the time. In today's world with computer vision, and again the pixel segmentation and all the other things that we talked about going through this, it leads us to, within your region of interest, to have a 98% accuracy rating in that for human detection, and that includes, the human detection includes any of the different AI technologies that we talked about. So someone is here is a human detection, but versus scaling the wall, which is human detection, but it's looking for that predictive patterning of climbing. The loitering memory, looking for that human detection, but someone's spending too much time in there. So again, these are very definitive artificial intelligence algorithms that we're looking for particular reasons in that, but for each license in there or each type in there, it is at a 98% accuracy within the zone. And the zones do need to be set up within the rules of the road. You can't put it out there 200 yards and expect accuracy. But if you're at that 50-foot mark out there, you can expect 98% accuracy out of that.
Wow. All right, well, it looks like that's all the questions we have for today. Thank you, Fred, for fielding those.
My pleasure.
If you'd like to review this presentation again or would like to pass this along, we'll have the recorded version up posted soon. And you can find this webinar by visiting www.psaeducation.com under the PSA webinars and videos. Thanks again, Fred. Really appreciate you taking the time today. For more information on Umbo, please visit their vendor page at psaeducation.com. They have more content there along with a link to their website. And please be sure to visit our website at psaeducation.com to make sure that you're taking advantage or leveraging all the PSA has to offer. On our site, you can access our future webinar events, this recording, educational offerings, and business solutions. And that's it for today's webinar. So, Fred, do you have anything else to add at the very end here?
We love being with the PSA group. It's a great experience. Love to do these things, and I'll look forward to doing some more of them. And if you guys have any questions or concerns, you can always touch bases with PSA, and they can put you in contact with the appropriate Umbo sales rep, and we can get any kind of technical questions or demonstrations or anything like that you need on the radar.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thanks everyone for joining, and have a wonderful day.
Appreciate it, guys.